Yo, what is up, guys? It is your boy, Great Zage here, and this is What If Naruto Had a Leveling System, Part 2. Hope you guys are doing good. I want to first start off by saying Happy Valentine's Day to y'all. So, Happy Valentine's Day to y'all. I hope y'all are doing good. If y'all don't have, well, I'm not even going to say it, but you know what? Whatever. I hope y'all go ahead and have a good day today. Go ahead and enjoy yourself. Personally, I feel like we all need to enjoy ourselves. Just enjoy. Probably get a tube of ice cream, sit down, relax, watch some TV, or hang out with your family. Just enjoy yourself, okay? Just enjoy yourself today. But I decided to go ahead and make a What If Naruto Had a Leveling System, guys. Which, by the way, guys, we finally reached 1K subscribers, and I'm really excited about it. I've been mentioning it all around, so yeah, really happy, guys. And I want to thank you so much. So once again, happy Valentine's Day to y'all. But besides all that, enough with the announcements. Let's get started.
She gripping that dick like she was a lost star. She party at night like she was a rock star. She singing my song like Bella-dee-da. She calling me daddy, but not a father. Little Billy bit thirsty like big as some water. Could give you the world with the wave of a wand. We Philly, our bitch Cosmo Wanda.
Alright, guys, let's get started with this What If. So we start off this What If with the sounds of battle ringing throughout this dungeon. Dang it! Said a voice. As this was none other than our main protagonist, Naruto Uzumaki. He was currently facing off against a beast. It was only level 14, as he was now currently facing off against it. Dang it, I need to cut off its stinger. Considering the fact that this beast was a scorpion type beast, it mostly relied on its stinger to go ahead and harm him. At this, just as he said that, the stinger was rushing dangerously close to him. As Naruto, in the split second, would go ahead and narrow his eyes. Wait for it. As just as the stinger was about to go ahead and stab him through the heart, Naruto, using a jutsu, would have jumped over it, of course avoiding it, as the beast would go ahead and turn around just in time for Yakune to go through its head, killing it off effectively. Great. Just 2 more days until the graduation exams, said Naruto. So, multiple days had gone by since Naruto had gained this new system, this new power of his. As multiple events had occurred, multiple things have changed. One being Konoha has been very quiet lately, due to the fact that their number 1 prankster and their number 1 loudmouth was no longer, loud. Naruto had during the time had begun to become more isolated into his training, not really making much conversation. The only time he ever even talked to anyone was when they talked to him. Plus Naruto's been taking his, teachings with Iruka seriously, so there's that. Plus Naruto's reputation around the classroom had also improved. Usually when someone mentioned Naruto Uzumaki, they always say that he was dead last, but Naruto was no longer becoming the dead last. Naruto, even though if Naruto had this, leveling system from the earlier years, he would have probably went ahead and been, would have probably been one of the highest. But luckily, Naruto is no longer dead last, as his scores were rivaled all the way up to, his scores were high, and they were high enough to bring his already low grade pretty up already. So Naruto is now in like the mid-range of class. So they can't really call him dead last. Plus, Naruto is actually one of, if not probably one of the strongest students in the classroom, as one time during the whole month, Naruto was actually, voiced it to do a taijutsu spar, but against one of the students. Now at this, multiple of the students thought that he was going to go challenge Sasuke, because, it's always, Sasuke is so-called Naruto's rival. But over time, Naruto didn't really consider Sasuke, anything. He didn't really care about the boy. He was only focused on his goal and his goal alone. He shouldn't really go ahead and bother with other people. But at this, Naruto go ahead and choose Kiba, as Kiba was actually the second best in taijutsu, considering the fact that, that's what his clan mostly go for, taijutsu. At this, Kiba, being arrogant as ever, tried to taunt Naruto, saying that he would never beat him, and that it didn't matter how good his grades got, he would always be a dead last. But Naruto just looked at him with a bored expression and asked, "Are you going to sit there ranting like the dog you are, or are you actually going to start biting me?" At this, Kiba gets angry as he goes ahead and rushes at Naruto using the Inuzuka's taijutsu style. But Naruto over the time had gone ahead and gained multiple taijutsu styles. He got the Academy Taijutsu in all different levels, one being, easy level, immediate level, then advanced level. He also had other ones, being the tiger taijutsu style, the hummingbird taijutsu style, and a few others. So Naruto, he would use the tiger taijutsu style, which mostly involved gripping and throwing, as he was able to grab most of Kiba's attack, throw the boy, and pretty much he was able to dislocate the boy's shoulder in the taijutsu round. This which actually caused a bunch of shock in the classroom, considering the fact that the display was brutal, and the way it was carried out was so effective that pretty much everyone was shook to the core. At this, Naruto's reputation continued going up, but that's not the only thing. Multiple females in the class have begun to notice Naruto, as each time he continued to become more isolated. He also showed up with, different type of clothing each time looking better than the last. Also, Naruto had also begun wearing some glasses sometime. And no, it's not because he's losing eyesight. No, he only wore glasses as he was reading a book or anything, because for some reason it helps him concentrate even further. At this, he'll usually do it whenever he's like going ahead and reading a book. As the girls have to class, like every girl in the class, well, except for a few who are still Sasuke fangirls, they had to admit Naruto was good looking. So Naruto had somehow, some way created his own fan club in some sort of a month. It was not as big as Sasuke, but still it was a fan club nonetheless. A person that was bothered by it was Hinata, considering the fact that, she was obsessive over Naruto and pretty much didn't want anyone getting their hands on him, but she still couldn't really talk to the boy. Another strange development though was Ino Yamanaka. As Naruto at first, he would have really not cared for the girl, but lately she's becoming more and more, well, how could I say it? She's becoming more clingy to him. He never really understood. He always thought that she was just going to be another Sasuke fangirl, as Naruto sort of outgrew pretty much any crush that he had in the academy. So that means Naruto really has no feelings whatsoever for Sakura Haruno, his previous crush. Over time, Naruto began to really realize the stuff about shinobi, life, and death, and it all started out through the month. But the thing that really got Naruto dedicated to his training is when he found out about Mizuki. Flashback. Naruto was just in class sitting down as he was waiting for class to start. Once again, as a bunch of fangirls were actually fighting for Naruto, fighting for a position to sit next to Naruto. At this, usually the normal thing that went around class was that all the fangirls would fight whether Sasuke or Naruto. Sakura would usually give Naruto a glare, considering the fact she's sort of lenient on the fact that Naruto is probably doing all this to gain her attention, but she says that it's not working. Naruto, however, ignored her, considering the fact that his crush over her was long gone by now. However, Naruto actually decided that he was going to actually use his observation skill to actually find out about Mizuki level. Considering the fact that Naruto has leveled up and his mastery over the observation skill had gotten to the point where he's literally able to find out people who are like mid to high chunin. So at this, he decides to check out Mizuki level, and when he found out what he was, it pissed off the Uzumaki to no extent. This guy was weaker than Iruka, Naruto thinks, as he couldn't believe it. The same man, this pathetic excuse for his chunin, was weaker than Iruka, and Iruka lost him. As Naruto couldn't believe it, Mizuki was only level 18, which was pretty much chunin level, and Iruka was none other than, he was actually level 22, meaning he could beat Mizuki. But he didn't. He died to someone weaker than him. And that just pissed off Naruto to no extent. If he hadn't been there, Iruka could have beaten the brakes off this guy. But I had to get in the way. At this, Naruto began to get even angry as he swears that he was never going to let something like that happen again. However, he's a little bit glad that he figured this out, because that means that even the strong can be taken down by the weak. So, with flashback, and Naruto began putting more dedication to his training and pretty much everything else. A few other events had occurred, some being that Ino actually began. Now, Ino, she still had a crush on Sasuke, but she was also looking at other material now. By that, I'm talking about Naruto, as most of the time whenever she, stopped talking to Sasuke, she would actually mostly sit next to Naruto, Choji, or Shikamaru, but most of the time next to Naruto, considering the fact that she's really liking the guy's company. Usually, she would just dismiss him, saying that he was loud, annoying, but over time, her opinion about him pretty much took a whole 180, as she actually began to see Naruto in a different light now. He was smart, calculative, calm, he listened, unlike Sasuke. He actually responded when someone was talking to him, and pretty much he was pretty much everything that Sasuke should have been. So she still has a crush, but she's also leaning towards Naruto sometimes. So it's complicated, but she knows one thing: if any of them were to ask her out, she would not say no. So with that, things pretty much went ahead and continue, as Naruto during the time, he had gotten even stronger. As Naruto had officially became the strongest in the classroom, not that anyone else knew, but he even surpassed Sasuke, as he was now level, 15. Sasuke was only a measly level, he was only a measly level 12, considering the fact that during the time in the academy, he'd gone up by 1 level, while everyone else usually just stayed the same. But Naruto had gone up to level 15, as he had been grinding extremely hard. Naruto had also learned a total of 5 jutsus, each one coming from a different element, as one of them was a lightning jutsu known as Lightning Style Thunderbolt, another one being the Fire Style Burning Lance, another one being Wind Style Gale Thrust, an Earth Style one called Earth Style Earth Shattering Hammer, and the final one being Wind Style Wind Arrow. Those were Naruto's jutsus, as Naruto had gained them all by going into dungeons and pretty much fighting for his life. Also, just letting you guys know, Naruto had actually met up with the Kyuubi no Kitsune, or should I say Kurama. Flashback. Naruto had just leveled up to level 14, as he was now panting on the ground. That took forever, you would think, as he goes ahead and falls down. Naruto was actually in a dungeon for an entire day, just waiting to beat the brakes off of it. And eventually, after he was done, he not only got a new item, but he got a new skill too. However, when Naruto fell into unconsciousness, he had actually been dragged into a mindscape. As next thing you know, Naruto was in a training ground, and after that, next thing you know, he was now surrounded by, now he seemed like he was in a sewer. What the? Naruto would think, as he goes ahead and gets up. At this, he begins to look around the area to find anything at all, only to see this ginormous golden cage and 2 red eyes staring down at him. At this, Naruto would then feel a bloodlust. What the? It seems that finally I come into contact with you, container, said the voice. At this, Naruto really was confused, as suddenly he would then see the system appear in his mindscape as he goes ahead and appears in front of him. As at first it began glitching out, very fast, as Naruto was actually getting worried, like, oh, what's going on? And so suddenly a title was then revealed to him: Jinchuriki. At this, Naruto had many titles. He already lost a couple of them, considering the fact that he took them off, one being the Prankster King from Hell and some others. But Naruto, he never expected this. Jinchuriki, a human sacrifice? What? At this, it didn't come with any perks. In fact, the only thing it gave you was, it gave you an extraordinary power, but it also came at a cost that your reputation in the village would decrease by 50%. So his likability in the village decreased that much because of his title. At this, Naruto couldn't believe it. This title seemed like a total flaw. However, this is when he then turns to whatever this thing was. So, what exactly are you? Naruto would say. At this, suddenly light began to loom over into the cage, as suddenly 9 tails would begin to swing in the air. As Naruto had then realized it just standing there. You're the 9 tails, he would say. At this, suddenly said 9 tails would begin to laugh and chuckle. Yes, I am, boy. I am the great 9-tailed fox, the one that destroyed the village. At this, Naruto, he didn't really know how to react to this. So that's why everyone hates him. That's why. At this, he'll remember Mizuki. I should have checked up on you earlier, Naruto would think. But this is when he goes ahead and actually calms down. Mizuki had already told him this. Alright, well, what do you want? What was the point of bringing me here? He would say. At this, the Kyuubi was actually surprised that he went ahead and calmed down real quick, but he decided to continue on. I've been watching your latest prowess lately, and I taken upon interest on myself to find out what it was, and I discovered something truly frightening of that ability of yours. At this, Naruto's eyes would then widen. You can see the system? He would say. At this, the Kyuubi goes ahead and nods, and he then says, I can see what you see. Now, Naruto, he couldn't really believe this. At this, and then Naruto then comes to the realization, is this power yours? Which the Kyuubi actually goes ahead and actually shakes his head, shocking Naruto. My power is great, but not far too great as that. This power is beyond even me, maybe even my own father. This would cause Naruto's eyes to widen. This power of his, this ability, this system, it was more powerful than the great Kyuubi, one of them that nearly slaughtered the entire Hidden Leaf Village, and the strongest of all the Biju, which Naruto's intelligence had gone up a lot. As he goes ahead and begins to really try to wrap his brain around it. What is this then? Naruto would ask. At this, the Kyuubi will go ahead and look at it. I do not know. I tried using a small bit of my power to influence it, but it never worked. The only time I was ever actually even able to influence it is when I tried using as much power as I can. But even then, it did nothing. This power has surpassed my own. In fact, it may have surpassed many others in this world. At this, Naruto then actually asks, then what is it anyway? At this is when the Kyuubi actually goes ahead and gives him a look. I am not sure, but I do know this. This power is much more ancient than even my own. Now, at this, Naruto was really wondering now. He was so confused. He now had a power that surpassed even that Kyuubi, the nine-tailed fox. As Naruto then decided right then and there that he knew two things that he was going to do. One, he was actually going to try to figure out the nine tails. Because something wasn't right. The way he was talking to him, at first he thought yo, this thing's going to murder me. But now it's talking like it's all familiar and buddies like that. So he really wondered, why did the Nine Tails attack the village? So that was going to be one thing he figured out. But another one that he was going to figure out is the system. But this one, Naruto would actually then freeze up. Wait a minute. So this system has power of other worlds or something? At this, the Kyuubi would nod as he sensed multiple different energies coming from it. Multiple from other worlds that he has no idea what they are, what power they are, or anything. Yeah, I'm going this far. Yo, I think this might actually become my most OP Naruto what if, I actually believe it. So y'all type down what abilities y'all think he might have. I don't know, y'all think. So Naruto, so I'm going to go ahead and cut the flashback there. Naruto, after that, he eventually found out the Nine Tails name, that being Kurama. He also found out about the events that had occurred during the whole Madara and, the summoning of him. Pretty much he found out about everything. So the blonde didn't realize that. He also realized that this person took his parents away. And that just made Naruto's quest even more. Nah. First, he thought it was just Mizuki, but now he was going after someone else, someone bigger on the spectrum. The person who not only caused the Nine Tails to be sealed in him, but the person who killed his own parents. He will get revenge. At this, Naruto began to train even harder, and due to Kurama's help, who actually, at first, he didn't want to help the boy, but due to the fact of this power, and due to the fact that this power is stronger than him, and he doesn't want this fool to mess it up, and who knows, maybe erase his existence, even though he's pure chakra. He didn't really want that to happen to him, so he decided to go ahead and actually help the boy. So with that, Naruto had actually learned about the title Jinchuriki. He also began mastering his control over the Nine Tails chakra, but Naruto mostly relied on the system. So after that, Naruto had really became, very powerful, and things have been going well. Flashback end there, which, wow, that's a long recap. Naruto was now just waiting as there was only 2 more days until the graduation, and then 2 more days for his fight with Mizuki. And he was ready to put that clown, and he was gonna make sure he suffered. As Naruto walked into the classroom, once again everyone was there watching him as he goes ahead and sits down. Naruto was wearing a jet black coat with black fingerless gloves. He will also be wearing black long pants with some boots as well. As Naruto was just there sitting down, he would go ahead and once again hear the countless bickering and fighting of two as he already sighs. Great. As suddenly walked in Ino Yamanaka and Sakura Haruno, once again the 2 biggest fangirls of the Sasuke fan club. Well, he's not really sure about, Ino, considering the fact that due to the fact of his mastery of the observation skill, he has seen that his likability with Ino had sort of skyrocketed for some reason. He didn't really know why, but now her thoughts about him had changed. Instead of being annoying, loud, and stupid, she thought of him as calm, a good listener, collective, and also nice. He didn't really know what the heck was going on, but he decided just to let it be, considering the fact that, he could think about all of that later after he goes ahead and, takes the time to get stronger. So after bickering for only a little bit, she goes ahead and actually decides to sit next to Naruto, of course, as she begins to start up a conversation with him listening and talking back sometimes. At this, Sakura is upset. She goes ahead and throws a glare at Naruto, as Naruto just ignores her. Sakura Haruno, she's been sort of annoying lately, as Naruto for some reason she has this weird hatred for Naruto. He didn't really understand why, but she had this weird hatred for him. Like, yeah, he understand that he was annoying back then, but come on, this hatred, there's no excuse for this. She had the nerve to go ahead and walk up to him and accuse him of acting like her Sasuke-kun, as she even went ahead and brought a bunch of the fangirls to go ahead and try to beat him up, saying that he could never be her Sasuke-kun and that she would only love Sasuke. But Naruto went ahead and told her straight. Flashback. So Naruto was sitting down, once again eating a lunch, as he went ahead and created it using his cooking skill. As the skill was actually, nearly maxed out, as he was able to make his own food now. And as Naruto was eating his food, until suddenly he would then hear a bunch of footsteps, as when he looks up, he will see Sakura and a bunch of Sasuke fangirls right there staring at him with a glare. "Can I help you?" he would say. At this, Sakura speaks up. "Yeah, can you stop acting like Sasuke-kun, Naruto baka?" she would say, as pretty much she goes ahead and goes on a full rant, telling Naruto that she would never be Sasuke and that she would never like him. At this, everyone decided to watch, as Naruto remained quiet the entire time. As after Sakura was done, she thought finally she put this guy in his place, but this is when Naruto speak up. "You're so loud. Shut up," he would say. At this, everyone would be in shock, as Sakura was, most in shock, as she never thought Naruto would talk back to her. Naruto would then go and get up. "Let me make a few things clear to you, Haruno," he would say, with such a cold tone that caused a shiver down everyone's spine. "I do not like you. I do not care about you. I do not care about the Uchiha. I do not care about either of you. My life, my things, they are my business, okay? I don't care what type of weird fantasy you live in where I'm apparently the bad guy and Sasuke's the hero, but you can shut it all down now. I don't give a damn about you. I don't give a damn about your Uchiha. I don't give a damn about your fantasies, and I don't give a zero crap about what you think of me. I'm right now mostly focused on my goal and my goal alone. So get out of my way, Haruno, and never, ever try to get in my way again." At this, Naruto goes ahead and blasts a full amount of killing intent, which he had gained his mastery over it is now a 9, as his bloodlust was so potent that everyone in the classroom frees up. Now, if you want to know how strong his bloodlust is, it will cause a low Chunin to even freeze up. Now, he could get his bloodlust go higher, but he needs to be at a higher level for it. At this, Sakura was scared out of her mind, as she thought Naruto was going to kill her, as she actually moved out of Naruto's way just as he walks off. When Naruto decides to seal the deal, actually turns around to her. "You know what? Just wanted you to let you know this. Why would I date you, especially when you're so annoying?" he would say. At this, Sakura just gasped, as well as everyone else. They couldn't believe it, as that was the day that they officially knew that Naruto Uzumaki was no longer the same person that he used to be. This was no longer the same Naruto that they knew. So after that, Sakura Haruno had just, pretty much left Naruto alone. She would glare at him, but she really couldn't do anything. So, pretty much, yeah, that's how it's been going. So, flashback end. Naruto was just waiting for class as they go ahead and see Iruka arrive, announcing that the graduation exam is coming in 2 days. As Naruto gave Iruka a calm smile, causing many of the girls to blush, considering the fact that, Naruto rarely smiles. He mostly has a serious expression on his face. But whenever Iruka arrives, he will give him a small smile, or whenever he's with his friends, he will go ahead and give them a small smile. So with that, Iruka goes ahead and gives everyone a smile, as he will then go ahead and begins to announce of when the exams are going to partake. As Naruto shrugged it off, saying that, I just have 2 more days. Alright, so we're gonna do a time skip to the past for 2 whole days, considering the fact that, we all waited long enough for this. So 2 days had passed, and pretty much Naruto had once again leveled up, as he was now level 16, but as he was now very sure that he can take on Mizuki. He was only now a measly level 18. Mizuki had not leveled up at all, considering the fact that he's mostly just been trying to sabotage Naruto and his education, which Naruto really did not give zero craps about. He knew he would get his revenge on the guy, and today was the day. And Naruto was excited for it. He can't wait for it. The scream of agony of Mizuki. He was gonna make him pay. He was gonna make him pay. By the way, Naruto does know about his parents, that being Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki. Now, Naruto really didn't. At first, he was actually upset and really mad at his father for going ahead and stealing the Nine Tails into him. But that's when he after a while, he finally calmed down. He didn't really tell anyone that he knew, but he just, he made sure, to remember his parents and be happy about them. He just wished he could see his mother and father. So, yeah, just letting you guys know, that's a little bit of a PS. As Naruto was there waiting, everyone would be there excited for the exams, as Naruto would just be sitting down, as Ino was sitting next to him. So, do you think you're going to pass the exam? She would say. At this, Naruto would nod his head, saying, definitely. I have to, he would say. At this, Ino would go ahead and have a calm expression, happy to see Naruto and everything, but she's been worried about him. Especially since each time he always speaks in a certain tone. Sometimes Naruto just acts, all nice and everything, pretty much like a calm, regular kid. But there's times where Naruto, he would go dead serious and would look like he was just waiting for his prey. Just waiting for his prey to go ahead and just, waiting for his prey to have an opening so he can go ahead and just take it down. Plus, she also knows his hatred for Mizuki. She didn't know why or what it was, but whatever Mizuki did to piss off Naruto, it changed him. And she didn't know if it was for the better or for the worse. As suddenly Iruka began to announcing names, all the way until he finally arrives at Naruto's. As when it's Naruto's turn, Naruto would just get up, ignoring the looks of everyone else as he goes ahead and steps in front of the classroom. Alright Naruto, perform the 3 jutsus, he would say. At this, Naruto would nod, as he would go ahead and perform the 3 jutsus perfectly, first being the Kaminari, then being the, I accidentally messed up. First, you go ahead and, do a substitution jutsu, which he did perfectly, of course. Next, he did the transformation jutsu, which he did, not doing the sexy jutsu anymore. He also did the Shao clone jutsu, not that anyone knew. So with that, Naruto passed with flying colors, shocking everyone, considering the fact that even though Naruto was doing good, they didn't really expect him to pass. At this, Naruto would go ahead and walk up, not before giving a smirk to Mizuki, pissing off the man even further. Damn demon brat, he would say, but he would smile. He would get his revenge tonight. At this, Naruto was excited, considering the fact he had the same thought in mind. So with that, after all of that, everyone passed like they did so. Naruto would go ahead and begin to walk off, as he decided that he was going to go walk into the woods for a bit, already knowing that someone was following him. Yes, come to me, he would say. So we go ahead and do a time skip to when Naruto was in the forest, as he was just there sitting down, as he already had 2 clones, which by the way, Naruto has full mastery over the Shao clone jutsu. He already knows how to use it, proficiently, and he's pretty much able to make do with it. So Naruto was right now just, sitting down, as he already had 2 clones, already sitting down practicing Senjutsu. Now, let me go ahead and describe something real quick. Naruto's abilities have been put in categories, as, his Nenjutsu, his Genjutsu, his Taijutsu, all of it had been categorized by the system. As Naruto actually ended up learning some Fuinjutsu, he also learned some Senjutsu after taking down a boss in a dungeon that had literally no eyes whatsoever, but it was able to sense everything that he did. It was a pretty tough fight, but Naruto was able to beat it, and so he was able to learn Senjutsu to an extent. At this, apparently Senjutsu had another form, but he didn't really know what it was. So far, he only mastered this form of Senjutsu, but he will find out eventually. So right now, Naruto Naruto also had some impressive weapon proficiency. As his weapon proficiency, I cannot speak. His weapon proficiency had gone up as well. He was pretty skilled with the sword, but that wasn't really much of his forte, depending on what sword it was. He was actually really good with the dagger, as that was actually 2 of the weapons that he got. Most of his clothing and weapons, he got them from defeating monsters in a dungeon, and so far his 2 highest weapons, being a C rank, were 2 daggers. One he got it from a serpent, and another one he got it from this weird salamander beast. As each one of them came with their own abilities, but you'll find out later on. So at this, Naruto was just there, sitting down, waiting for Mizuki to show up, as just like that, you would then hear the cracking of a branch. He'll smile. "Hello, Mizuki," he would say. At this, Mizuki, who goes ahead and walks out with and say, "Busted. Hey, Naruto. Look, I understand that you passed, but look, there's a way for you to become Rookie of the Year," but this is when Naruto cuts him off. "Cut the crap, Mizuki," he would say, as he gets up. At this, Mizuki was so confused as Naruto goes ahead and smiles. "I already know your plan. You want me to steal Scroll's ceiling, so that way you can go ahead, run off with it, and head to wherever you're using it for. But after that, you're gonna make me take the blame. Or maybe even try to kill me, so that way you can go ahead and be claimed as a hero for taking down the great demon of the Kyuubi." At this, Mizuki was shocked, until he would go ahead and get a grin. "Glad to see a demon like you isn't so dumb. Now hurry up and give me the Scroll's ceiling," he would say, as he goes ahead and pulls out a kunai, as he then speaks up again. "Or else." At this, Naruto would then say, Mizuki. "Don't you understand? I brought you here because this isn't no regular forest, no." At this, Naruto would then, out of nowhere, 2 daggers would appear in Naruto's hand. As this, Naruto had grabbed them both from his inventory. As Naruto would then speak up again. "This is your grave." At this, suddenly Naruto would then dash off at Mizuki at amazing speeds, shocking Mizuki as he would then cut Mizuki with one of his blades on the knee. At this, Mizuki thought nothing of it until suddenly he would then feel paralyzed? What? At this, Naruto would go ahead and spin. Once again in front of Mizuki. This is my serpent dagger," he would say. It has a sort of a 25% chance of paralyzing my opponent." At this, Mizuki was in shock, as he didn't expect this from the so-called demon brat. But Naruto wasn't done. "Now, don't worry, the paralyzation only works for like about 30 seconds, which should be your time right now." Just when he says that, Mizuki was free to move again, as he then rushes at Naruto with the kunai. "Damn you!" But Naruto wasn't letting up, as he goes ahead, dodges the attack, kicking Mizuki in the leg, as he goes ahead and actually trips up. But this is when he goes ahead and uses his other dagger, slicing Mizuki on the cheek. As Mizuki then feels burning, "Ah!" he would say as he falls down. As he goes ahead and passes the cheek, "It burns! What did you do?" At this is when Naruto would then speak up again. "It is my other dagger, Salamander. As soon as it lands and cuts on you, it has I guess you could say a 30% chance of having a burning effect on you. So that means each time you slice on you will actually feel more pain than you usually do." Just what the hell? How did you get those?" he would say. At this, Naruto would say, "It's not as if you're gonna find out, especially since I already know where you're going, and that's hell." At this, Naruto began to fight against Mizuki, as Mizuki did not even prepare for any of this, as Naruto began berating him with different taijutsu styles, and due to the fact that Naruto was switching so much, Mizuki couldn't really keep up. "Come on, Mizuki, keep up, or are you too much of a pussy to handle it?" At this, Naruto would go ahead and do a similar hand sign. He then shouts, "Shao Clone Jutsu!" At this, suddenly 5 Shao clones begin to appear, as he then tells them, "Now!" At this, every clone would nod, as Mizuki was looking very bad. He had cuts all over, burning effect going around. He was paralyzed, he couldn't move. It hurts like hell. At this, Naruto was gonna say, "This is your punishment, Mizuki. This is for Iruka. This is for me. This is for everything you did to me. The academy, you sabotaged me. You killed my best friend, and you went ahead and did all of that. And all because you had a hatred for me. All because you had a hatred for the Kyuubi. Well, no more, Mizuki. Because guess what? Hell's waiting for you, and he can't wait to devour your soul." At this, Naruto would then go ahead and shout his clones to do it, as every last one of them would go through and blitz through hand signs. Fire style, wind style, earth style, and thunder and lightning style. At this, every last one of the clones would then shout their attacks, as Mizuki would then look as every last one of them would shout the attack. Lightning style, thunderbolt! Or I guess you could say lightning release, thunderbolt, he would say. Another one would then say earth release, earth shattering hammer! Another one would yell, wind style, wind arrow! Or, yeah, wind arrow. As another one would go ahead and shout, fire release, burning lance! At this, every last one of the attacks would shoot at Mizuki, as Mizuki can do nothing but just look on in shock, as the last things that were heard in the forest were nothing but scream of pain, agony, and sorrow. As after all of that was done, the only thing that was left of Mizuki was the burnt and remaining ashes of his body that were laying there on a puddle of blood. I hope hell treats you well, Mizuki, he would say, with a smirk. At this, deep inside the mindscape, Kurama, who had been watching the whole thing move, he only has one word to say. Damn, he would think. That boy is more sadistic than me. So after that, Naruto goes ahead and walks off, as he actually goes ahead and gives a smirk. As he couldn't really believe, as right now, suddenly, just like that, a pop-up menu would then appear. Congratulations, you had just completed the quest. At this, Naruto was confused until he realized that he did accept the quest earlier today. Huh, who would have thought my revenge would actually be a side quest, he would say. At this, Naruto would then smirk as he begins to walk off, excited for tomorrow's team placement. He wonders what team he's gonna get. At this, he will go ahead and put the knives back in the storage. As, by the way, just letting you guys know, if you guys want to know the ranking for whatever weapon that Naruto's get, the lowest that he could get is an E rank, and the highest that he can get was an S rank. So, yeah, Naruto the C rank weapons are they're pretty rare and sort of hard to get, but really, it depends on what dungeon you are in. So with that, Naruto walks away, as not only had he gotten a pretty good amount of money, but he got some XP. I can't wait, he would say. As Naruto, when he actually goes to a training ground to train with the system, and he decides to practice his senjutsu a little bit, considering the fact that it's not 100% at mastery. He also sent another clone to go ahead and practice his cooking skill, so that way he can go ahead and get that to mastery. He also had another one practice his sort of dagger proficiency, considering the fact that his weapon proficiency, when it comes to his dagger skill, his mastery is very high over it. So with that, Naruto goes ahead and sits down. He decides to get some rest while his clones do the bidding, considering the fact that whatever XP that the clones get, he gets. So we go ahead and do a time skip to the next day. Naruto had walked into the academy in his new attire once again, as he was now wearing something really cool. I'm not really getting into detail about it. Pretty much, he wore some green pants with black boots. He will go ahead and wear a black robe with a white shirt underneath. Well, actually, not a white shirt. He will go ahead and actually wear a black shirt underneath it with black fingerless gloves. As when he walks into the classroom, he just sits down, pretty much ignoring everyone, just as a certain Uchiha does. Just like that, as everyone begins to fall into the classroom, Iruka will walk in, as he actually begins to announce about the teams. But this is when one student goes ahead and speaks up. Iruka-sensei, where is Mizuki-sensei? He would say. At this, Iruka goes ahead and looks down at him and says, Mizuki was killed, he would say. At this, everyone gasps. As Naruto, however, as Iruka, when he looks at everyone, he will go ahead and see everyone's expression. But when he looks at Naruto, he will look at him strange. Naruto looked neither affected nor anything about Mizuki. In fact, if he looked really close, he could see that Naruto seemed happy about it. At this, Iruka was so confused, but he decided to put it in the back of his mind for now. Alright guys, it's time for team placements, he would say. So at this, Iruka begins to announce the teams, as Naruto Naruto wasn't really paying attention, as he was right now organizing everything in this menu. Hey Kurama, so how far would you say my mastery of controlling your abilities are, he would say. At this, Kurama decides to give him an honest answer, saying that it was more of a 30%. Considering the fact that Naruto wasn't really getting there, he had some sort of blockage between them, as Naruto really needs to get his Fuenjutsu mastery up. Dang it, he would say, as he really needs to practice his Fuenjutsu. Luckily, he had a scroll with a Fuenjutsu kit. Until suddenly Iruka's voice would then speak up. And finally, Team 7. The members will be Sakura Haruno, Sasuke Uchiha, and Naruto Uzumaki. At this, Naruto goes ahead and just looks up, as he just says, "Fuck me," he would say. So we do a time skip, so everyone was out of the classroom, and pretty much all that was left was Team 7. Naruto was really ignoring his teammates, as he actually brought out his Fuenjutsu kit out of the scroll and began working on it. He didn't really give much of a damn about his two teammates right now, as right now he was just mostly focusing on Fuenjutsu. "Hey Kurama, do you think I got this right?" he would say. At this, Kurama goes ahead and looks at him and says, "Why are you asking me?" At this, Naruto just turned to him. "Well, I don't know, you're an ancient beast that lived for nearly a millennium," he would say. At this, Kurama would just chuckle. "Yes, but you're acting as if I was associated with the humankind. You really believe that I'm just gonna be there? They're gonna go ahead and show a fox their techniques?" At this, Naruto thought about it for a while, when he had to admit that didn't make sense. However, that then brought another scary feeling. Just imagine, like, you in a village and you see a freaking tailed beast already throwing some hand signs all over the world, be like, "Fire style, great fireball jutsu," and all you see is ginormous fireball heading towards your village. Yeah, I sort of see that, Naruto would say, as he actually had to admit that was terrifying. As Naruto was practicing Fuenjutsu, Sasuke Uchiha, he had actually taken a very interest in the blonde. He had to admit, Naruto, during the time, he never really considered him anything. In fact, he considered him all doing this just for a joke to try to gain Sakura's attention. But over the time, especially when he saw that Taijutsu Spire against Kiba, and saw how Naruto had been fighting more in control, like he was able to fight more in control and everything, he had to admit, maybe the blonde wouldn't be dead weight to him. Who knows? But this, he did say, he still thought he was better though. At this, Sakura was just... Now, at this, he was also ignoring Sakura, who was just asking him out on a date, until suddenly some man would then walk in. "Team 7, he would say. At this, Sakura would then yell, "You're late!" she would say. At this, said man would just, shake his head and says, "Meet me on the roof." Now, unknown to that man, Naruto had used his observation skill, which had already reached his max, as in order for him to go ahead and reach even further, he needs to level up more, and at least be in the 20s, or in the 25s. Alright, let's see. All I could get was his name, Kakashi Hatake, and only in his title being the Copy Ninja? What was that? However, Naruto didn't really mind, especially since he was more excited about his level, as the man had triple question marks. Now, that would mostly mean that someone's level was way too high for someone to distinguish, as Naruto had learned from experience from trying to find out Iruka's level. So with that, Naruto would get up and, walk to the stairs, completely ignoring his teammates. As Naruto, when he arrives up there, he goes ahead and sits down. Just so you guys know, Naruto does already know the chakra exercises, so yeah, but he just decided to walk across the stairs because it was just super simple. So after a while, eventually his rest of the teammates would then arrive, as Kakashi would then shout their introductions. "Alright, introductions," he would say. At this, everyone would go. Pretty much everyone would do the same thing in canon. Sasuke saying that he was going to kill a certain someone. Sakura just, yeah, And Naruto, pretty much, he goes ahead and gives a different response. "My name is Naruto Uzumaki. My likes are ramen, training, the Kyuubi, my father, and my mother." He would say this nonchalantly. Kakashi's eye widening. "He likes the Kyuubi? Wait, what do you mean his mother and father?" What? As Kakashi was right now having so many questions, Sakura was about to open her mouth, trying to say that Naruto didn't have any parents, but one look from Naruto already told her that if she said those words, Naruto would have slit her throat. Now, at this, Naruto had put up multiple things with Sakura. He didn't really care about her, but Sakura had this thing where she did not care about people's feelings, and she would literally make fun of an orphan for being an orphan and not having any parents. So Naruto made sure to watch her, like, "Yo, you say something, and I'm gonna knock you out." So Sakura instantly shut up. So at this, Naruto continues on. My dislikes, very many people. I mean, a very large amount of them. Not getting into details here. My hobbies, training. reading, pretty much anything that can get me stronger. And my goal is to go ahead and make a certain someone proud and to become Hokage, he would say. At this, Kakashi, wondering who this someone was, and also some other questions, kept a close eye on the blonde. Alright? As Kakashi goes ahead and begins to explain the belt test to them, at this, he will also begin to explain about the chances of passing, shocking all of them, as he begins to tell them that they should arrive at Training Ground 7 on time. At this, he'll go ahead and vanish, but not before mentioning that they should have no breakfast, or suggesting to it. At this, after he left, Naruto would get up and begin to walk away. Sasuke would have already got up and ignored Sakura, and pretty much ignored her attempt at getting a date. As Sakura, not having anything better to do, she would go ahead and return back. She would go ahead and go to that same bench, where she would eventually find Sasuke. She began to berate Naruto, saying that how he had no family, and Sasuke would tell her the same line, saying that she was annoying. After that, Sakura would realize that she should probably try being nicer to Naruto, and that she pretty much made Naruto feel like shit. So she promised to herself that she was going to be nicer to Naruto the next time she sees him. Back with Naruto, he currently had now just entered a dungeon, 2 daggers pulled out, as he goes ahead and was fighting a bunch of these werewolf creatures. As one of them was a red hound, which had a weird ability that whenever one of them was dead, multiple armies of white wolves would go ahead and appear, and pretty much they will go ahead and try to, go after their targets. Bring it on, you bastards. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, the person who's going to become Hokage, so I won't be killed by a bunch of pathetic hounds, he would say. At this, the beast would go get angry, as Naruto had unlocked a new skill, known as Taunt, as Naruto already had a good plan of mastering that ability. At this, all the beasts would rush at Naruto, as Naruto would say, "Yup, I'm never giving up. With this power, with these abilities, I'm nearly unstoppable," he would think. As this will be the end for part 2 to what if Naruto had a leveling system. So what would happen next? What will happen in the belt test? Will Sakura actually change? What will happen to the dynamic of Team 7? How powerful is Naruto gonna be? So yeah, I hope you guys do enjoy this what if. But either way, I'm gonna go eat some pizza rolls, and yeah, it's Great Zage, and I'm out.